Everyone hates process, but let's face it, without an established workflow, you are going nowhere fast. What are stories, epics, and initiatives? Stories, also called user stories, are short requirements or requests written from the perspective of an end user. Epics are large bodies of work that can be broken down into a number of smaller tasks called stories. Initiatives are collections of epics that drive toward a common goal. Why create user stories? For development teams new to Agile, user stories sometimes seem like an added step. Why not just break the big project, the epic, into a series of steps and get on with it? But stories give the team important context and associate tasks with the value those tasks bring. Stories keep the focus on the user. Stories enable collaboration. Stories drive creative solutions. Stories create momentum. How to write user stories? Consider the following when writing user stories. Definition of done. The story is generally done when the user can complete the outline task, but make sure to define what that is. Outline subtasks or tasks. Decide which specific steps need to be completed and who is responsible for each of them. User personas. For whom? If there are multiple end users, consider making multiple stories. Ordered steps. Write a story for each step in a larger process. Listen to feedback. Talk to your users and capture the problem or need in their words. No need to guess stories when you can source them from your customers. Time. Time is a touchy subject. Many development teams avoid discussion of time altogether, relying instead on their estimation frameworks. Since stories should be completable in one sprint, stories that might take weeks or months to complete should be broken up into smaller stories or should be considered their own epic. This structure is not required, but it is helpful for defining done. When the persona can capture their desired value, then the story is complete. We encourage teams to define their own structure and then to stick to it. Once the user stories are clearly defined, make sure they are visible for the entire team. User story template and examples. User stories are often expressed in simple sentence structure as follows. As a persona, I want to, so that. How to write a user story? As a type of user, I want some feature so that some reason is achieved. Who, what, why equation, acceptance criteria. Breaking this down. As a persona, who are we building this for? We are not just after a job title, we are after the persona of the person. Max. Our team should have a shared understanding of who Max is. We have hopefully interviewed plenty of Maxes. We understand how that person works, how they think, and what they feel. We have empathy for Max. Wants to. Here we are describing their intent, not the features they use. What is it they are actually trying to achieve? This statement should be implementation free. If you are describing any part of the UI and not what the user goal is, you are missing the point. So that how does their immediate desire to do something this fit into their bigger picture? What's the overall benefit they are trying to achieve? What is the big problem that needs solving? Who writes the user stories? It is the development lead or sub-lead's responsibility to write user stories and have the acceptance criteria approved by the business analyst for QA to verify the user story according to the acceptance criteria. Acceptance criteria of user story to be written within the user story. To be written and approved by the business analyst, QA should ask for the approved acceptance criteria. User stories refinement sessions. User story refinement sessions will be conducted before writing down the user stories to ensure the development is done in the right direction. User stories describe the why and what behind the day-to-day work of development team members, often expressed as persona plus need plus purpose. Understanding their role as the source of truth for what your team is delivering, but also why, is key to a smooth process. Start by evaluating the next or most pressing large project, for example an epic. Break it down into smaller user stories and work with the development team for refinement. Once your stories are out in the wild where the whole team can see them, you are ready to get to work. Product backlog. The product owner owns the product backlog. The development team owns and maintains the sprint backlog. The product backlog forms a part of a product's long-term strategic plan and evolves with the product. The sprint backlog is a short-term plan to accomplish a series of tasks within a sprint. Sprint backlog. The developers own the sprint backlog, not the Scrum team. Per the Scrum guide, the sprint backlog is a plan by and for the developers. It is a highly visible, real-time picture of the work that the developers plan to accomplish during the sprint to achieve the sprint goal. The 4 ceremonies of Scrum. Types of meetings during the sprint ranging from 2 to 4 weeks. Sprint planning, a team planning meeting, determines what to complete in the coming sprint. Sprint demo, a sharing meeting where the team shows what they have shipped in that sprint. Daily stand-up, also known as the stand-up, a 15-minute mini meeting for the software team to sync. Retrospective, a review of what did and didn't go well with actions to make the next sprint better. This is the process: database to backend to front and to testing to shipment 1. This is first sprint, this is second, this is third, and the same goes on.